My fiancée is a high school teacher. She is graceful and elegant. She blushes whenever I tell a risque joke. I feel like I've found a treasure. Until one time when I was on a business trip and came home early. Today, the flight on Eastern Airlines I took arrived more than an hour early. I didn't tell my fiancée, Su Xiaoya. I wanted to surprise her by coming home. My heart was pounding with excitement. Su Xiaoya and I met through a blind date. When we first met, she shyly told me she had never been in a relationship before. Her innocent demeanor made my heart stir. I've opened my heart and wallet for Su Xiaoya. I treat her like a goddess. After we dated for 2 years, she finally accepted my marriage proposal. I couldn't wait to head home. To make it convenient for Su Xiaoya to go to work, I bought a large flat near her school. She usually stays there, and I handle all the big and small matters, with each of us having our own room. Half an hour later, I arrived at the doorstep of the house. I suppressed my inner joy and prepared to open the door and go in. Ah, you're amazing. My hand froze on the door handle. Mr. Su, you're so hot. A man's heavy breathing came from inside. Tell me, have you ever slept with your fiancé? Su Xiaoya smiled coquettishly. Of course not. I told him I'm still a virgin and want to save it for our wedding night. That fool was so touched he never even laid a finger on me. Well done. Remember, marrying him is your mission for me. You must only listen to me, understand? The man said with satisfaction. Of course. What followed was a series of inappropriate sounds. These two shameless people were doing such sordid stuff in the house I bought. I felt as if struck by lightning. My heart skipped several beats, unable to accept it at once. I sat moodily on the flower bed downstairs, smoking a cigarette. I couldn't comprehend how my seemingly innocent fiancée of 2 years was only dating me because of her boss's orders. So depraved behind my back. No wonder Su Xiaoya hardly gets close to me. I originally thought she was conservative, but it turned out she is such a shameless woman. I used to regard her as a pure and noble goddess. But in private, she is a wanton woman under another man. My emotions are complicated. There's anger, resentment, disappointment. Being deceived like a fool for 2 years. How can I just let it go? I pressed the cigarette but heavily to extinguish it. I want to take revenge on this shameless couple. After another half hour, that man and Su Xiaoya came out of the building embracing each other. They were whispering sweet nothings, looking like a match made in heaven. I looked closely, and I recognized this man. He is the dean of Su Xiaoya's school. So these two have been fooling around together all the time. A sharp pain pierced my heart. Seve. Ral times I want to pick up Su Xiaoya. This man was with her. The man pinched Su Xiaoya's buttocks and then sneaked away. I took a few close-up shots of them. Su Xiaoya took out her phone to call me. Xingxing, I'm sorry, I just overslept. Are you there yet? I'll come pick you up right away. I sneered inwardly, but still replied with feigned affection. No need, babe, I'm heading home now. I feel like having some fried chicken tenders from that place on the corner. Could you get them for me? Su Xiaoya was visibly displeased. It's so far, and it's so late, I don't want to go to. I transferred 1,000 yuan to her, and Su Xiaoya immediately brightened up with a broad smile. I'll go get it right away. After hanging up, I felt all sorts of discomfort in my heart. I am nothing more than Su Xiaoya's lapdog and ATM. Taking advantage of the time Su Xiaoya went to buy the supper, I quickly installed a hidden camera at home. Being a computer engineer, such a small task was a piece of cake for me. I sat on the sofa, closed my eyes, and relaxed, getting angrier the more I thought about it. I was itching to kill this adulterous pair right away. Before long, Su Xiaoya returned. She playfully put the chicken tenders in front of me, pouting. Serving you is exhausting. I was deeply hurt. Normally, I even wash her underwear for her, and she never remembers my efforts. By the way, Xiaoya, I want to talk to our parents about getting married. I said to her with anticipation. Su Xiaoya hesitated a bit. Marriage. There's no rush for that. I eagerly said, Xiaoya, I can't wait to marry you. I'm planning to give you a dowry of 1 million. What? Upon hearing the figure, Su Xiaoya's eyes widened. Ignoring her surprise, I continued. After marriage, I'll buy another house for you, with only your name on it. Oh, and you'll need a car for work. I'll get you one. Su Xiaoya was overjoyed. She sat on my lap, kissed me on the cheek, and sweetly said, Hubby, you are so great. Hubby, today, I'm going to take a shower. Su Xiaoya said to me with a suggestive tone. While she was in the shower, I planted a monitoring app on her phone, so I could check her chat records anytime and anywhere. I started going through her phone. The more I read, the more disheartened I became. Su Xiaoya's obscene words were unbearable to look at. She had nicknamed that man Master. Their chat history was filled with adult content. In her private album, Su Xiaoya was dressed in various outfits like a bunny girl and a nurse, posing provocatively. It was completely different from the innocent image she usually portrayed. I felt like throwing up. I suppressed my nausea and copied a lot of material. I didn't want to have anything to do with this filthy woman and feigned exhaustion to fall asleep immediately. The next day, Su Xiaoya's entire family rushed their rural home to my place. I wasn't surprised and took them to the most upscale restaurant for a meal. Su Xiaoya's parents have always looked down on me. Even though I earn 20 to 30,000 yuan a month, they're still not satisfied. They think Su Xiaoya should marry a big boss who can give them endless money to splurge. That's why Su Xiaoya's parents have always been sarcastic towards me, feeling that Su Xiaoya is getting a raw deal being with me. If it weren't for the fact that Su Xiaoya wasn't getting any younger and that I'm so honest and straightforward, they wouldn't have agreed to let Su Xiaoya get engaged to me. Su Xiaoya's younger brother, Su Xiaoqiang, dropped out of vocational school and hasn't been able to find work, and Su Xiaoya keeps urging me to find a job for her brother. Zhengqing, I heard that you two are planning to get married. As soon as I sat down, Su Xiaoya's mother put on airs and started speaking. I earnestly nodded. Su Xiaoya's father said, with a serious expression, "Xiao Su, don't say we're being harsh on you. My daughter is the only college student in the village. The girl from old Ju's family next door didn't even graduate middle school, and her husband gave a bride price of 300,000. You, Dad, Mom, I plan to give Xiaoya a bride price of 1 million. I interrupted Su Xiaoya's father's speech. How much? Su Xiaoqiang's eyes widened like light bulbs, and Su Xiaoya's father's mouth stayed open. I ignored him and continued. Besides the bride price, I also plan to buy another house for Xiaoya, with the title in her name. Su Xiaoya's parents were overjoyed and kept saying great, completely changing their attitude towards me and praising me as very ambitious. Su Xiaoqiang couldn't sit still. Brother-in-law, you've given everything to my sister. What about me? I gave Su Xiaoqiang a mysterious smile. I haven't forgotten you. I thought about it, and after I marry your sister, I'll have you work as a manager at my buddy's company. It's a public company, you can go check it out. Long live brother-in-law. Su Xiaoqiang was so happy, he almost jumped up. The Su family enjoyed the meal particularly much. Today, I deliberately went to the school to find Su Xiaoya. Usually, she doesn't let me go to the school to find her. Before I even walked into her office, I heard Su Xiaoya's voice. We're at school, be careful. What are you afraid of? No one's here, come, give me a kiss. I let out a cold laugh, then knocked on the door. The voices inside quieted down, replaced by a commotion. Come in. Su Xiaoya's voice carried a hint of panic. I pretended I hadn't heard anything and pushed the door open to enter. As expected, it was that dean. The two deliberately stood far apart, and upon close inspection, it was noticeable that Su Xiaoya's shirt had one button fastened incorrectly. Zhengqing, G, why are you here? Su Xiaoya seemed a bit flustered. She hurriedly explained to me. This is Director Wang Jiming from our school. He came to recommend me for a speech as an outstanding teacher at the end of the term. Director Wang chuckled awkwardly. Teacher Su is excellent, and we're planning to give her some recognition. Wang Jiming and I exchanged a glance, and in his eyes, I saw a hint of mockery and provocation. Well, thank you, Director Wang. I politely shook hands with the man. Wang Jiming left with his head held high. Zhengqing, did you come to find me for something? Su Xiaoya asked nervously. I wrapped my arm around her. I came to take you to see the house. Really? You're so thoughtful, Zhengqing. Su Xiaoya beamed widely, hurriedly tidying up before urging me to head out. We arrived at the Lanting estate. Su Xiaoya stared greedily at the model house in the showroom. She showed off arrogantly to the sales assistant. I went to the side to make a phone call. After finishing the call, I quietly pulled Su Xiaoya aside. Xiaoya, Lu Jun just called me and said that my funds have been temporarily frozen. Su Xiaoya's face changed. What? What about the house? I don't care. I'm not marrying you without this house. I signaled her not to panic. You don't know, Xiaoya, my account was frozen because my profits this time increased 100-fold. There are probably several million. It's such a large amount that it's temporarily frozen. Su Xiaoya was stunned by my bluff. I pressed my advantage. I think this house has a great return on investment, and after we get married, my money is your money. I'll give you all these millions. Yes, miss. Our houses are very popular. There are only 2 left, and if you don't act now, they'll be gone. The sales assistant chimed in. Su Xiaoya gritted her teeth. All right, I'll buy it. Su Zhengqing, once the funds are unfrozen, you have to give it all to me. I agreed wholeheartedly. Su Xiaoya went aside to make a phone call, and I reckoned she was about to ask her parents and lover for money. Sure enough, in no time, Su Xiaoya gathered enough for a down payment and excitedly secured a house. Inside, I was bursting with laughter. Everyone in the know was aware that this real estate project was doomed to fail, and Su Xiaoya's money was bound to go down the drain. My soon-to-be brother-in-law, Su Xiaoqiang, has been very high-profile lately. He knows he's about to become a manager at a listed company and can't wait to make an impression at the new office. I'd already tipped off my buddies, allowing Su Xiaoqiang to move in and out freely. Su Xiaoqiang swaggered around the company with confidence. He told everyone he met that he was about to become a manager there. People only thought they'd encountered a lunatic and mostly ignored him. That day, he was teasing a pretty receptionist at the front desk. "Miss, be with me, and I'll show you what happiness really is." Su Xiaoqiang leaned in towards the young lady with a lecherous grin. The young lady scoffed at him. "Do you have money? You look like a loser. How could you pursue me? How can you make someone happy?" Su Xiaoqiang was defiant, boasting about soon becoming a manager, only to receive merciless ridicule from those around him. Su Xiaoqiang left in embarrassment amidst the crowd's mockery. I caught up to him and comforted him warmly. "Xiaoqiang, what's making you unhappy? Brother-in-law, can you lend me some money? I'll pay you back once I start working." Su Xiaoqiang looked at me expectantly. I put on a troubled face. "I really want to help you, but all my money is with your sister. I also prepared a 1 million yuan dowry, which is meant for your sister when we get married." Seeing Su Xiaoqiang's deflated look, I said to him, "Xiaoqiang, didn't you used to say you have very good luck? Why don't you try going to the venue?" "Right." Su Xiaoqiang slapped his thigh. "When I was in technical school, I even won a few hundred on the lottery." Su Xiaoqiang ran off excitedly. I've been closely monitoring Su Xiaoya's whereabouts these past few days. By monitoring her chatting software, I discovered that she and Wang Jiming are becoming even more shameless. They even want me to raise their child. Those despicable cheaters. I was so angry I could spit blood. From the chat records, I learned they plan to get a room on Saturday afternoon. I prepared to initiate my plan. On Saturday, I invited Su Xiaoya to go see a movie. Su Xiaoya hesitated. "Zhengqing, our school needs to rehearse for the end-of-term gala. I can't go to the movie with you, sorry. I graciously expressed my understanding. After Su Xiaoya left, I disguised myself and followed her to the hotel downstairs. Su Xiaoya walked past the reception with her head down and went straight up the stairs. I quietly followed and saw her enter room 317. I sneered and sent a text message to a certain number. "Yellow-faced woman, your husband is getting a room with me at XX Hotel in room 317 now. He says he's going to dump you and marry me." I waited quietly. In less than half an hour, an aggressive woman rushed to the door of room 317 and started pounding on it with her fist. "Wang, are you in there?" The woman's voice attracted the surrounding tenants. They peeked out curiously. Seeing no response, the woman got increasingly furious and shouted, "If you don't come out, I'm going to kick the door in." The woman, with a sturdy build, couldn't hold back anymore and began kicking the door. Bang! The door was actually kicked in by the woman. Jiming Wang stood at the doorway, dumbfounded. Jiming Wang, in a panic, looked at the woman and said, "Wife, why are you here? Let me explain." "Bastard." The woman kicked Jiming Wang right in the crotch. Jiming Wang doubled over in agony, clutching his groin as he writhed on the floor. Meanwhile, my fiancée, Su Xiaoya, was hiding on the bed, trembling, wrapped in just a towel. "Slut!" The woman stepped forward and grabbed Su Xiaoya by the hair, dragging her out. Su Xiaoya, her hair being grabbed, grimaced in pain. Su Xiaoya was dragged into the hotel corridor. A group of bystanders eagerly watched the spectacle, some even pulling out their phones. "You brazen hussy! How dare you provoke me? You got a death wish." The woman slapped Su Xiaoya with a viciousness. The crisp sound of slaps was particularly striking. Su Xiaoya pleaded for mercy while trying to shield her face. "You shameless tramp, let's let everyone have a good look at you." Furious, the woman yanked away Su Xiaoya's towel. Caught off guard, Su Xiaoya's fair body was exposed to the public. "Wow, that's intense. Geez, even being a mistress requires having something to show. Wow, with a body like that, no wonder any man would be tempted." The surrounding area erupted in chaos. Su Xiaoya felt utterly humiliated and tried to hastily cover her body. "What are you doing?" The hotel security, having heard the commotion, rushed upstairs to check. Only then did the woman reluctantly stop her actions. The scene was a complete mess. Wang Jiming hadn't recovered yet, clutching his lower body and groaning on the floor. Su Xiaoya's hair was disheveled, her cheeks swollen, and her body covered in bruises. The woman ferociously yanked Wang Jiming's ear, forcing him to leave with her. Satisfied, I slipped away with my camera amid the chaos. I invited Su Xiaoya's parents and younger brother to my home. I told them I intended to send the bride price to Su Xiaoya on this auspicious day. Naturally, they were overjoyed. We were sitting in the living room waiting for her when Su Xiaoya pushed the door open. Although Su Xiaoya had applied a thick layer of foundation, the red handprints were still faintly visible. "Xiaoya, what happened to your face?" I approached her with concern. Su Xiaoya avoided eye contact with me. "It's nothing, accidentally fell. Xiaoya, I love you. Let's go get our marriage certificate tomorrow. I'll give you the betrothal gifts today." I looked at Su Xiaoya with deep affection. Su Xiaoya's face showed a touched expression. "Xingxing, I do?" The Su family's greedy eyes were fixated on my hand as I prepared to transfer the money. Ding dong! The doorbell rang. "Hello, Same City Express. There's a package for you." The delivery guy handed me a stack of documents. "Brother-in-law, what could be more important than marrying my sister? Hurry up and give the betrothal gifts." Su Xiaoqiang urged me impatiently. Suspiciously, I opened the document envelope. As I looked through it, my hand began to tremble. "Xingxing, what's wrong?" Su Xiaoya asked curiously. With a livid face, I forcefully threw a stack of photos to the ground and roared. "Su Xiaoya, I poured my heart out to you, and this is how you repay me." The photos of Su Xiaoya caught in the act were scattered all over the floor. The angle from which the photo was taken was perfect, capturing Su Xiaoya's face clearly. Su Xiaoya's face turned deathly pale in an instant as she stood there dumbfounded. Su Xiaoya's parents and younger brother picked up the photo and were immediately left speechless from the shock. I sat on the sofa, pulling my hair in frustration. Her father trembled with anger and slapped Su Xiaoya across the face. "Shameless thing." Su Xiaoya was hit so hard she saw stars. Her father said in despair and reproach, "How did I raise such a disgraceful daughter?" Su Xiaoya's mother sat beside me ingratiatingly and said, "Zhengqing, there must be some misunderstanding. You and Xiaoya have been together for so long. Just forgive her, won't you?" "Yeah, brother-in-law, that guy is a nobody. How could he compare to you?" Su Xiaoqiang chimed in from the side. They all looked at me expectantly. I looked at them heartbroken. How am I supposed to bear this? My fiancée booked a room with another man behind my back. She was even stripped of her clothes, and so many people saw it. They were still trying to persuade me. I ignored them and asked them to leave. Su Xiaoya pleaded with me humbly. "Zhengqing, honey, I'm sorry. I was momentarily confused. I swear this was the only time. Could you please forgive me?" Seeing that I remained silent, Su Xiaoya made a desperate decision and knelt down before me. "Su Xiaoya, you've really let me down." I looked visibly hurt. "Zhengqing, I promise I won't have any more dealings with him. Please forgive me." Su Xiaoya cried, as if she were a weeping beauty. I pretended to hesitate. "Can you really change?" Seeing a glimmer of hope, Su Xiaoya nodded vigorously. "I promise, Zhengqing, I was wrong. Don't leave me. I love you. Let's get married." After pondering for a moment, I said, "I want to calm down. You all should leave first." No matter how they pleaded, I refused to relent. I only said I needed time to consider, so they had no choice but to leave for now. At the doorway, her dad kicked Su Xiaoya in the stomach. "You troublemaker." Her brother also blamed Su Xiaoya. "Damn it, we almost had it, sis. Are you really that desperate?" Ignoring their dog-eat-dog behavior, I slammed the door shut. I sat on the living room sofa, happily exhaled a puff of smoke. In the days that followed, Su Xiaoya and I switched roles. Su Xiaoya would check in on me daily on WeChat, calling frequently. I only responded to her coolly. Su Xiaoya seemed to realize that she couldn't find anyone better than me. No matter how indifferent I was, she became increasingly attentive. Every day, she would send morning and good-night messages without fail, and sometimes she'd even send a sexy post-shower selfie. After several days of constant bombardment, I finally relented and suggested assessing Su Xiaoya for a while. Their family was overjoyed. His parents came to my house with gifts, smiling and hoping I wouldn't interfere with finding a job for their son, Su Xiaoqiang. I made an excuse to brush it off. Su Xiaoya, on the surface, showed great care for me, but in reality, she was still entangled with Wang Jiming. Su Xiaoya said she needed to keep a low profile for a while, as it took a lot to coax me back. Wang Jiming switched to a new account to continue flirting with Su Xiaoya. A leopard never changes its spots. I was utterly disgusted. Su Xiaoya wanted me to attend her commendation meeting, hoping to prove her capabilities to me. It was exactly what I wanted. Su Xiaoya's whole family was present at the event. They were smug, seemingly proud of having raised a successful daughter. Today, Su Xiaoya was dressed in professional attire. Her figure was curvaceous. She looked radiant, throwing a few coy glances at me from the stage. I felt nauseous. Discreetly sent another text to Wang Jiming's wife. You old hag, you can't beat me. Your husband told me last night that he loves me. After closing my phone, I focused on waiting for the show to start. Su Xiaoya began her speech with enthusiasm. Thank you to all the leaders for nurturing me. I am very honored to be selected as an outstanding worker this time. I want to thank... Boom! The auditorium doors were thrown open, drawing everyone's attention. It was Wang Jiming's wife. She glared at Su Xiaoya with anger on her face. Su Xiaoya was so shocked that she dropped the microphone. Wang Jiming's legs turned to jelly in fear. His wife stormed up onto the stage and slapped Su Xiaoya to the ground. Shameless hussy! I'll kill you! While cursing, Wang Jiming's wife kept hitting her in the face. Su Xiaoya screamed and tried to dodge. The scene was chaotic. Su Xiaoya's parents were too shocked to speak. Seeing such a fierce woman, no one dared to step in to help. Su Xiaoya pleaded. No, please stop. I didn't flirt with your husband. Wang Jiming's wife kicked Su Xiaoya off the stage. That's bullshit. I've seen the records of your flirty chats. Seeing the timing was perfect, I secretly operated the PowerPoint Su Xiaoya had carefully prepared. On the big screen, a video started playing of Wang Jiming and Su Xiaoya's grappling session on my sofa, along with their explicit chat logs. The content was shocking to everyone. Su Xiaoya kept calling Wang Jiming master, and they were exchanging intimate photos online. The room suddenly fell silent. Su Xiaoya shouted excitedly. Tee off. Turn it all off. I also played the video of Su Xiaoya getting caught in the act. The expressions on everyone's faces were quite spectacular. Wang Jiming, drenched in cold sweat, went up to hug his wife, pleading, Honey, let's go home, please. I swear I've cut ties with this tramp. She's the one who refused to let go. Wang Jiming, you beast. Betrayed by Wang Jiming, Su Xiaoya screamed in rage. You said yourself that you and your wife have no feelings anymore, you. Shut up, bitch. Wang Jiming hastily interrupted Su Xiaoya's words. If it wasn't for you seducing me, I wouldn't have betrayed my wife. I was just playing around with you. Bastard. Su Xiaoya, shocked, decided to go all out. You're the one who harassed me first. You said you loved me, that your wife couldn't satisfy you. Only I could make you happy. Lying bitch. Wang Jiming gritted his teeth and slapped Su Xiaoya across the face. The once loving couple now fought like mortal enemies. The onlookers were thrilled, having never heard such bizarre details before. Su Xiaoya's parents looked at me guiltily. Xingxing this matter, I interrupted them, calmly saying, It's completely over between me and Su Xiaoya. They panicked and pleaded for me to forgive Su Xiaoya, but I ignored them. I walked up to Su Xiaoya and said despairingly, Su Xiaoya, you have such a cruel heart. You've made me wear a green hat for so long, and now you want me to raise a bastard child. Are you even human? Zheng Qing. Su Xiaoya crawled to my feet in disarray, clutching my pant leg and pleading. No, I love you, Zheng Qing. I kicked away the begging Su Xiaoya and walked off without looking back. Behind me, I could still hear a woman's angry curses and Su Xiaoya's screams. With most of the matters wrapped up, I lay back on the sofa with a sense of relief. I had been suffering from insomnia all these days. Thinking about being played like a fool made me furious. My phone kept ringing incessantly. I didn't even need to look to know who was sending the messages. I had blocked Su Xiaoya and her entire family. I posted the house for sale online overnight. Dealing with that family was no easy task. Su Xiaoya had been staking out my house for 2 weeks straight. Not finding me, she caused a scene downstairs until the property management kicked her out. I dealt her the final blow. I made her one last phone call. Actually, that day I went on a business trip and arrived home more than an hour early. At the doorstep, I overheard things I shouldn't have. You're toying with me? Su Xiaoya shouted angrily into the phone. I ignored her hysteria on the other end and hung up directly. Su Xiaoya became completely infamous. Her video went viral on major platforms and forums. The chat content shocked many netizens. She and Wang Jiming were swiftly expelled from school. Because of their notorious reputation, neither could find a job. After being doxxed by netizens, they didn't dare to leave their homes. Wang Jiming was beaten into impotence by his fierce wife. His wife didn't divorce him either, taking out her frustrations by beating him whenever things didn't go her way. Su Xiaoya's parents scolded her daily, furious that she had destroyed her life. They were heartbroken thinking about the 1 million yuan betrothal gift that went down the drain. After things fell apart with Su Xiaoya, her brother Su Xiaoqiang's job opportunity naturally disappeared as well. Her younger brother was also annoyed by Su Xiaoya's actions and joined their parents in hitting and scolding Su Xiaoya. Initially, Su Xiaoqiang went gambling to look good, and at first he won several tens of thousands. which gave him a lot of confidence. However, he couldn't outplay the casino owner. After the owner collected their winnings, Su Xiaoqiang lost everything, down to his underwear. In desperation, he borrowed from loan sharks. He thought I would cover for him, so he didn't restrain himself at all. The money he borrowed was completely gone just a couple of days after he got it. Soon, Su Xiaoqiang owed millions in high-interest loans and couldn't repay them. Those people threatened to break his arms if he didn't pay back the money. Debt collectors from the loan sharks vandalized their house with paint and excrement daily. There wasn't a moment of peace. The developer from whom Su Xiaoya previously bought a house ran off, and naturally, the project remained unfinished. Su Xiaoya couldn't get back a single penny of her deposit. This even included her parents' retirement savings. Now the Su family hated Su Xiaoya to the core. They couldn't bear the torment from the debt collectors and sold their house, moving the whole family into a dark and damp basement. But the money from selling the house wasn't enough to cover the loan sharks' amount. Even if they sold everything they had, it still wasn't enough. They wanted to borrow from relatives and friends, but everyone kept their distance, fearing bad luck. In the end, Su Xiaoqiang couldn't repay the loan and had 2 fingers cut off, leaving him crippled. He drank heavily at home, every day, smashing things. Eventually, he got addicted to drugs and was hit by a car and died. Su Xiaoya's parents felt that Su Xiaoya ruined their good life and killed their precious son. They forced Su Xiaoya into prostitution to earn money. Su Xiaoya never found a savior, and eventually contracted a sexually transmitted disease due to the high-intensity work. She was kicked out of the nightclub by her boss. I sold my house and moved back to my parents' hometown. The following year, I met a kind girl through a blind date. We got married soon and had an adorable son. When I took my son to a summer camp, he Leah knit on the car window, pointing outside at a person, and said in his naive voice, "Daddy, what's that?" I looked closely and saw Su Xiaoya, whose body was covered in sores, curled up on the ground, begging passersby for some money. I lovingly looked at my son